Hey, I apologize for the typo at the top of the page. 7-4 is not special products of polynomials. It is actually solving polynomials in factored form. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how to solve some of these polynomials. Now, I just want you to recall standard form looks, has no parentheses in it. And factored form is kind of what it looks like before you distribute. So x times x squared, or x times x is x squared, x times 2 is 2x squared. When I had x squared plus 5x minus 24, this is what its factored form looks like. Now, I'm going to remind you something called the zero property. Now, it's got a name to it, and pretty much it's really fancy for when you multiply by 0, you get 0. So if I had 4 times 2 times 8 times 0, my answer is 0. If I had 3 times 0 times 482 times 693, my answer is 0. Okay, that's all the zero property is. So what we're going to do is we're going to solve these. We're going to find the roots. Now, a solution is also called a root. So we use that a few times. Now, remember, I want to know what makes this a true statement. Well, if this here is 0, no matter what this is, 0 times this will be 0. And if this is 0, it doesn't matter what this value is, because this value times 0 will give me 0. So how can I solve that? Well, I'm going to set 3x to 0, x minus 6 to 0, divide by 3, x equals 0, add 6, x equals 6. So either one of these is going to give me a true statement. So if I plug in 0 here, 3 times 0 is 0, 0 minus 6 is negative 6, and 0 times negative 6 gives me 0. Same thing here. 3 times 6 is 18, 6 minus 6 is 0, 18 times 0 is 0. So if either one of these factors is 0, my solution is going to be 0. So to solve these, we're going to set each of these equal to 0. So my solution here is x equals negative 5 and x equals 4. Both of those are my solution. So what do we do here? Exact same thing. It's just that we have a little bit bigger factor here. So I have 4x plus 5 equals 0. 4x minus 5 equals 0. Subtract 5. 4x equals negative 5. Divide by 4. X equals negative 5/4. Here, we're going to add 5 to both sides. 4x equals 5. Divide by 4. X equals 5/4. Notice these are opposites. These are not opposites, except the constant here is an opposite. So these are going to be opposites. Now, notice this is c plus 6 squared. Well, if I have 2 of these, do I really need to solve both of them? No. So I only need 1. So I end up with 6 equals negative 1. Or c equals negative 6. Oh my gosh. So what that's telling me is negative 6 plus 6 is 0. 0 squared is 0. This is what we call a repeated root, because technically there are 2 of these, but I only need to list 1. Now here I have 3 factors. We're going to set each one of these equal to 0. Because anytime a factor is 0, it doesn't matter what the rest of them are. So a equals negative 5, a equals 2, and a equals 7. All right, go ahead and try these on your own. Hit pause, come back and check your work when you're done. All right, check your work, see how you did. If you've got any questions, be sure to let me know. Let's go back a few years and talk about what a greatest common factor is. Now remember, a common factors are numbers or expressions that we multiply together. Think about this as the largest, or greatest value I can divide both of these by. So I want to factor out the largest value here. So if I look at 12 and 3, the greatest value I can factor out of 12 and 3 is 3. They're both divisible by 3. Now, if I look at x cubed and x squared, my largest factor there is x squared. So this here is my GCF. Well, when I factor out a GCF, what does that look like? Remember, factoring is the same thing really as dividing. So I have 3x squared. So 12x cubed divided by 3x squared is going to give me 4x. 3x squared divided by 3x squared is 1. Now, check my work here. 3x squared times 4x is 12x cubed. 3x squared times 1 is 3x squared. So let's figure out how could we solve these. Now, I always want to make sure that these are set equal to 0. So I'm good there, thumbs up. And I'm looking at, let's see, I want to factor here. So 4 and 12 are both divisible by 4. X squared and x divisible by x. So what am I left with? Well, if I factor out a 4x squared there, I'm left with x plus 3 equals 0. So then we're going to set each of those equal to 0. So x equals 0 and x equals -3. Now here, if I notice, I don't have this set equal to 0. Okay. Well, and I got a negative here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add 10a squared to both sides. So there's my 0. 10a squared plus 8a. Looking at my common factors here, let's see, that would be 2a, leaving me with 5a plus 4. So now let's set both of those. So I have 2a equals 0, 5a plus 4 equals 0. So a equals 0, and a equals -4/5. All right, go ahead and try these next few on your own. Hit pause and play when you're done. All right, how'd you do? Go ahead and check those out. And then I want you to do the next 3 on the next page. All right, try these next 3. Hit pause and play when you are done. All right, take a look at how you did. So for A, you should have had x equals 0 and -5. For 9, s equals 0 and 3. And for 10, x equals 0 and 1/2. All right, you can model the arch of an entrance to a train tunnel by using the equation y equals -5/16 times 8 times x plus 8x minus 1, where x and y are measured in feet. The x-axis represents the ground. Find the width of the entrance at ground level. So this is when y equals 0. So if this is my fabulous tunnel, let's see what we have here. So we have 0 equals -5/16 times the quantity x plus 8, x minus 8. Now, honestly, there's nothing I can really do with this one here when solving, because if this is 0, doesn't matter what this is. If this is 0, doesn't matter what this is. So I need to set these two equal to 0. So I've got x plus 8 equals 0, x minus 8 equals 0. So x equals -8 and x equals 8. So it says the x-axis represents the ground. Find the width of the entrance at ground level. Pretty sure I'm not going to have a negative answer here because I can't have a negative distance. So that is the distance from here to here and here to here. So and I can replace it right there. So my answer here was x plus 8. So I've got 8 plus 8 equals 16 feet, because the distance from here to here is 8 and here to here is 8. All right, go ahead and try number 11 on your own. Okay, you should have ended up with 8 feet. Have a great day, everybody. Be safe.